Hello and welcome to all my musical minions to the Forgotten OneCast. I am your host, as always, CJP. Today we're going to be talking. Hopefully, the guest that I had planned will be joining me tonight. Haven't heard back from him just yet, but once he does, it's going to be a fun conversation. Other than that, of course, as we do, we have to pay the bills around here, which, bills. Hooray. So let's hear from our affiliate sponsor, Coffee Brand Coffee.
Coffee, green tea. Coffee, green tea. Coffee, coffee, green tea. Coffee, green tea.
Nuts.
Coffee.
Satsuki.
Paul Pilkington.
All
Right.
Are you team coffee or are you team green tea? Try coffeebrandcoffee.com and enjoy 10% off your order with promo code CJP. Coffee Brand Coffee, great coffee, no gimmicks.
Again, you can go to coffeebrandcoffee.com, use code CJP, get 10% off your next order. They do have some fantastic deals going on at the moment. So check out their selection, whether you're Team Coffee or Team Green Tea or Team Cocoa. They do have cocoa. So if you're not one of those guys and you're one of those guys, you can get some at coffeebrandcoffee.com. So now that that's out of the way, I did want to ask a very simple question of everyone.
Are you ready to rock?
I know I am. And joining me tonight, I'm going to try not to fangirl as much as possible because I am an absolute fan of this comedy troupe. But with us joining us tonight, Mr. Paul Chato of the Frantics.
Hey,
Mr. Chato, how are we doing today?
I'm good. Sorry, I'm late. I was like watching the clock, and then my son started talking about cars, and I have to listen to him because he's my son. But my initializing video in, although I don't look too horrible. I'm gonna quit this and restart it. Hold on, because I can look much better here.
Oh, not a problem. You take your time, sir.
No, it's okay, and don't call me sir.
Oh, okay.
New message. I'm frozen. Oh, there we go. I'm back. Come on. Yay, there we go. And I look exactly the same, which is fine. Not a problem.
I look the same every time, and unfortunately, I'm surprised I haven't broken the internet yet. So,
Well, I do have this ability. Come on. There we go.
Again, I really wanted to thank you for joining me because, like I've said in previous, shows that I've been on, the Frantics, were every bit as much a part of my humor in junior high and high school as Monty Python and groups like that were.
That's awfully nice. Where's my Frantics? Where's the damn thing? Where is the damn thing? So here's our first album.
Oh, very cool.
And then here's our second album.
There's our Boot to the Head album.
Boot to the Head.
So proof that you aren't lying. And then you're from the U.S. though, right?
Yes, sir. Sorry,
Yeah,
darn it. I'm sorry.
Very military. You must have a military parent or something.
No, oddly enough, just a couple uncles, but
That should improve the audio too. There, see? That's much better. There we go.
No, my parents are always like, just be respectful, say yes or no, sir.
Yeah. No, that's fine. I think that that makes certain sense. I mean, absolute sense. People should be polite to each other. I think that's a good default regardless. That's not a bad thing at all. So Dr. Demento is who made us famous in the United States.
Yes.
We had a sketch called Boot to the Head, which was our Taekwon Leap. So there's two Boot to the Head sketches. One's called Last Will and Temperament, which is about a lawyer probating a will, and then the Taekwondo Leap is the dojo with come and enjoy the benefits of Taekwondo Leap. I just want to boot some head. So I mean, for those
Well,
of you, and that was funny because Gary from Nerdrotic, who you know, lovely guy, he invited me on FNT, and then I guess we exchanged some information or something happened while we were online. He says, "Oh my God, you're the boot to the head guy." What? So he just knew me from the my YouTube channel,
mhm.
and then all hell broke loose when he realized that I was on Dr. Demento and with the Frantics. So yeah, no, it's been a fun life. I'm not as famous anymore, but that's fine. I actually prefer the anonymity. I don't need the bullshit of fame. It's just way too much work.
Yeah, that's just what I've heard. I wouldn't know, but
One
it's
day,
yeah, yeah. With this face, come on.
no, you're cute. You could be up to like 2 million. It's not like I'm adding a shit ton of people to my channel.
Right.
I'm really not. I enjoy doing YouTube, but I'm not really made for it. I should be doing bikini hauls or something like that. By
Mhm.
the way, here's my celebration of everything America. Buc-ee's.
Unfortunately, there's not one in my state, which annoys me.
No, they don't go above North Carolina, so it's
I'm in
Texas.
I'm in Oklahoma. I'm like I'm close enough to Texas. We should have one, but
Mm.
but we've got Quick Trip, and they pretty much dominate our entire.
Well, the problem with Oklahoma is that it doesn't have enough empty space to put a Buc-ee's in, right?
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I did want to thank the chat that has popped in.
Hello, chat.
Holy Fook, El Chato is on. Awesome.
El Chato, hello, nice to be. Hey,
70s rock fan.
70s rock fan. Good to see you. Always good. We haven't done anything together in a while.
And I've had him on my show a couple of times because I like talking about prog rock with him.
Yeah, I'm a big prog rock guy. It was my era. I have, saw Genesis twice live. That was in the Peter Gabriel era.
Ooh, that would be good.
Lots of prog rock in my past.
I missed that era just because I was born at the tail end of the 70s. But
yeah.
Thankfully, my dad had a very extensive record collection and introduced me to a lot of genres I would have never heard otherwise.
Well, it was also fun to be at the beginning of the synth stuff with Larry Fast. I don't know if you know who Larry Fast is, Synergy, and then, of course, Wendy Carlos switched on Bach. And I had a friend who had one of the first mini Moogs.
I really enjoyed her soundtrack for Tron. I thought she did fantastic.
Oh,
fantastic score.
Very talented person.
And we've got Master Tulsa popping in. Just got home. Got a Michael Kelly Dragonfly bass. Just need one more. We can play Big Bottoms acoustically. There we go.
Oh my God, I can't play
and
bass.
He's actually done the Taekwondo Leap sketch. He's a martial arts teacher in Kok Solwan for
now.
Korean.
I have seen it done. You can catch them on YouTube 2 different ways. One is they're playing our audio and then they lip sync to it and physically act it out. And then there's one dojo we saw where everyone was really at the top of their game and they memorized it. And when they were doing the boot to the head, they were doing boot to the head. I mean, the guy was leaping up 6 feet or whatever it was to do the whoop. And it was full out real version of Taekwondo Leap. And I have to give them credit. That was something.
We got Mr. Clinton House popping in.
Yeah, that sketch was best sketch 2 years in a row on Dr. Demento. He made us.
Does not surprise me. We would actually memorize it and would do it on bus trips and band. I'm a huge nerd. I will not deny
it's
that.
It's okay. I'm a huge nerd also. I think that's fun. That is the best compliment one could get.
And then Mr. Tulsa come back
Thank
in
you
as
very
an
much.
instructor. He says you are an inspiration.
And my daughter does Brazilian jiu-jitsu and kickboxing. She's a 4'4", just muscle little bullet.
A whirling dervish.
Oh, she's great. She's really good.
Awesome. Well, yeah,
Sure.
and the only thing that I wanted before we get into the actual topic, I did want to
Sure.
bring up something unfortunately that did happen in the world of music that was not as fun.
Someone died.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was
It's happening. I mean, I could go any moment. I mean, this is Allman Brothers. Okay, yeah,
so his
Dickie
co-founder
Betts.
Dickie Betts passed
Yeah,
away. He'd been battling cancer for a while, and again, Southern rock is another genre I'm pretty well steeped in. Again, thanks to my dad. He played a lot of Allman Brothers, and then really got into Government Mule when Warren Haynes, who had played for the Allman Brothers for quite a few years, put out his own splinter group in the 90s, in 2000s. So, yeah, I'm very much steeped in the culture. So
I
that
liked the sound of the Allman Brothers because they were also very Appalachian compared to Nashville.
yeah,
I'm not a big fan of the 5-man uh, country music bands where every single singer sings the same note and there's really no harmony.
yeah.
Drives me nuts. It's just volume, just
Mhm.
insane. Sorry for all you Smoky Bottom boys or whatever the fuck they're called. I don't know. And but the Allman Brothers really did rock. They were
Yeah.
good.
And,
And I'm
you
not
know,
an Eagles fan.
another one of those bands that is oddly enough had two drummers and somehow made it work.
Yeah. Yep. Like King Crimson.
Mhm. So I just did want to share that. So unfortunately, we did see the passing of Dickie Betts.
Yep.
Will be missed.
And I wonder how badly Dickie Betts abused his body during the Halcyon years. You just don't know, right?
Right.
I mean, these guys,
They lived hard, partied hard.
they tended to. I mean, you know, it was number one. Touring is rough. I've done it. It's not fun. It's really, really, really not fun. And then if also you're in a giant bus, and then you've got 18 wheelers behind you dragging just a shit ton of stage equipment and sound gear, and oh my god, people don't know how difficult it is.
Mhm. Yeah,
Which is
'cause I
why you
think
need
it's
a
all the
three-piece like
party and
Rush. Pardon me?
I think it's all the party and the fun, but there's
Well,
just a whole lot of stuff in between that they don't take into account.
yeah, and some people absolutely love it. I hear that Keith, what's his name from the Rolling Stones?
Keith Richards.
Keith Richards loves the tour, and whereas Mick Jagger does not. So
Well, I mean, Keith Richards is also immortal, so
that's true. He's Rasputin.
I mean, you know, when the nuclear war does happen, the only thing that's going to
Yes.
survive is cockroaches.
He does not have to go into any vault to survive.
No, no. I'm hoping I'm hoping he at least donates his body to science if he does actually go, so we can figure out how he stayed alive so long.
I agree. He needs to do that. Bless his
Especially
heart. His book was good.
especially with all the drugs he's done.
Well, and he's not. I saw the Rolling. I mean, I saw the Rolling Stones with Stevie Wonder opening back when he was Little Stevie Wonder. That
Mhm.
was a phenomenal concert. Actually, Little Stevie Wonder blew the Rolling Stones out of the water that evening. But I was at Massey Hall, which is a smallish, wonderful venue in Toronto, and it was Long John Baldry was playing, and he was great. And I was stage right if you're looking at the stage. And the Rolling Stones were in town because of circumstances. When was it Keith Richards who got caught with the drugs, and the judge, the fine was that they had to set up a free concert for the CNIB, which is the Canadian Institute for the Blind.
Mhm.
And they were so freaked out that they did not get punished. The whole the whole punishment was to play for free for blind people, that the Rolling Stones just made Toronto the place where they did all their rehearsals before all their big, huge tours.
I did not know
It
that.
Yeah, it was just, and I think there was a tax benefit too, but other
Probably.
than that, so they were in town, I believe, for to rehearse, and I remember, so Lon John Baldry is doing his thing, and then for whatever reason, I saw this thing out of the corner of my eye, and it was Ron Wood pokes his head out the door, and then falls flat because he's drunk as a skunk. Just smash face first into the ground. And I saw Keith Richards open the door behind him, grab him by the scruff of the neck, and pull him back, close the door. And I was the only person who noticed. And I'm going, hey, well, over, hey, you just,
You start to feel like that Monty Python sketch with the two guys sitting in front of the window, and you see the body fall past it. And
yes.
hey, that
Did you see that?
Downwards.
Yes, yeah. Did you see that? No, I didn't. No, I think it was Edwards. Yes, he's from
And then they
accounting.
start taking
Yes.
bets on who's going to fall next.
That's right. Oh, come on, Willie. Willie, come on, Willie.
Parky. Nope, don't do it, Parky.
That's right. You remember this stuff better than me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't do much, because I didn't date in the junior high and high school. So, I had nothing else to do but memorize, useless
I
stuff.
tried. I did try, but I was on the AV crew, which was just one notch above the euchre club.
Mm-hmm.
It was not, if you're in the AV crew. Now, the one benefit of being on the AV crew, apart from not getting any women at all, was that you'd get called out of your class because I was one of only two people who could thread a Bell and Howell 16 millimeter projector for, the different health classes and the different AV. Back then we didn't have, computers and shit like that. You had to have a movie, venereal disease, marijuana will kill you, or whatever the movies were. And
I remember Blood on the Highway during driver's ed.
I don't know that one. So I would be called out. Would Paul Chato please, go to take the Bell and Howell to Mrs. Edwards' class, a grade 3 class, please? And I'd go, and then I'd just take my time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Get the stuff, put it on the cart, thread it. I was only like, you had to thread it and put the loop in just right, because then, the film would get wrecked. But I was one of only two people who could do it properly. But just part of my nerdy beginning.
Yep. For me, it was being a band geek.
Band geek, okay. Yeah. I'm not really particularly musical. You still play?
I do. In fact, Master Tulsa is my bass player. We've got an 80s cover band that we do.
Well, you hear, this will be of interest.
Uh-oh. This could be good. This could be lunch meat. Could be peaches. I don't know. Howdy, Mr. Paul Hadouken. How you doing, sir?
1971, Ibanez Les Paul copy, the very first clone of a Gibson guitar that they got sued over.
Nice.
And I was just getting some of this stuff redone. 1971, I've had it. Paid $100 for it. And I redid the wiring myself. And while I was getting it done at the store, a guy came in and went, "Oh my God, that's the guitar that Ibanez got sued over." I went, "Yeah." He said, $1,700. And I went, "No, I'm gonna keep it.
I'm gonna hold on to that one.
I'm gonna hold on to. I don't care about the thing.
Value.
But this is it's like even the head. You can see they ripped off.
Oh yeah, that's
everything.
It's not like they just put tracing paper over it. That's
yeah,
good.
The only difference is that it's got the Japanese backplate style as opposed to the
set neck. Yeah.
Other than that, it's my little jewel. It's not a great guitar. I'll tell you, it's not great, but it's as good as I am.
Well, I mean, as long as it makes you happy, that's
all
it really matters to me.
I play it all the time and really enjoy it, and it's fun. I have to get my saxophone fixed. But
what's up, Beast Swizzle? How you doing, sir?
I like the names, Beast.
And yeah, I kind of want to go a little bit into the history of the Frantics.
Sure.
Give us a little bit of background. How you got started, and
well, what's useful to you? What's interesting to you from a career arc basis? I mean, people talk about this stuff. I just did a video on comedy, and I mean, to me, the most interesting thing that I think I could talk about is creativity doesn't happen in a vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
That if you're the only if you're the only prog band in Tulsa or whatever, then there's not much of a career for you.
Mhm.
All these famous people that we talk about in the past, they were part of a community of musicians that were kind of doing the same stuff. So during the time of Genesis, you had Yes, and you had King Crimson, and you had a lot of British prog going on, a lot of stuff that you would have never heard of. When we started doing the Frantics comedy group, there might have been nearly 100 sketch comedy duos or larger groups that were breaking up or forming constantly. I mean, it's like a band, right? This
Mm.
just nonstop. But we were maybe one of two comedy groups, us and the Kids in the Hall, that emerged from that soup. And you need to have the soup, which is and why don't we have more decent music out there? Because people aren't playing live. The bars have disappeared,
Mhm.
or
Or
they're
they're
not
not
playing
paying
live
anything.
music. Pardon me?
Or they don't pay anything.
Or well, no, the paying that's always been the case.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not an impediment for us idiots. Like seriously, that's never been an impediment. And so and Second City, which was big in Toronto. So there was Chicago where Second City was started, but then a lot of the subsequent famous people like Andrew Martin and Flaherty, who just died, and Martin Short and John Candy and Dave Thomas, Catherine O'Hara, all came out of Toronto. And that, actually Catherine O'Hara, I ran into her, and she was the one who said, "Hey, you should take lessons at Second City at Toronto." And it was just such a phenomenal time where you're learning from each other. And Mark Breslin had started Yuck Yucks, and so that we were performing with Mike McDonald, not the singer, Jim Carrey, oh god damn it, what's his name? He's on America's Got Talent. Anyways, I'll remember him eventually. It's my 70-year-old brain.
Howie Mandel.
Howie Mandel, thank you. So for 20 bonus points, what do they call his left nut? So it was a fantastic time, including the fact that your career potentially didn't end with going on the road and grinding it out. And because there were sitcoms, and you had Gabe Kaplan in Welcome Back, Kotter, and then you had Seinfeld, and you had all these different stand-ups who got sitcom jobs. And so there was something to aim for. There was also print. I was a print nut. So there was Spy Magazine, National Lampoon Magazine, that were coming out monthly, and they were making millions of dollars. There was, of course, Mad Magazine. So comedy was everywhere, and in records, Bob Newhart, Bill Cosby, just a phenomenal amount of comedy material, but also venues to perform comedy, and also ways to make money that was quite wide. You could do a print thing, you could do a record thing, you could perform live. All that stuff is gone. If you don't have a Netflix special, that's it. Like there's what other thing? You're not going to get famous going on Jimmy Fallon.
No.
You'd become famous if you got onto, this is old now, Ed Sullivan, and you see Jackie Mason, on there, and all these Topo Gigio and oh my God, Foster Brooks, all these old comedians that went on, Shecky Green, Shelley Berman, and then you had the Tonight Show, which would make you a star in one go, right? And then Letterman actually did a pretty good job showcasing. Trying to remember the name of first time I saw the screaming preacher with the hat, that you got the same hat as him.
Mm-hmm.
And he would be yelling all the time about divorce and what was his Sam Kinison.
Yeah.
and then there was the Just for Laughs Comedy Festival. So the thing is, there was a comedy industry, and one of the things we don't have now is a comedy industry. Really, I mean, sitcoms are gone. There's no real movies. So how do you sustain? You have to have your dream. And when you're a musician, you need to have a dream. And no one dreams about, I hope I get onto Spotify and get 5 billion listens and make $8. That's my dream. Like, it's so screwed up that what is the point? You do need a reason to exist, and making money while you don't work for the money, but the money's got to be there that will allow you to work, right? So things are just so screwed up now. So the Frantics started just at the absolute most beautiful time. And one of the things that we did, because I was a graphic artist, I made sure that we had a brand. And I mean, I showed you.
Right.
So to me, and this will be useful to, there's Larry Fast's album from 1970, Synergy. What did I do with that stupid damn? Okay, where we go? Okay, Frantics. So, I mean, between these two albums, what do you notice? We've got the same logo.
Yep.
So I spent a long time. We went through 3 different logos, but I designed this, and then I designed this. I designed both these covers, but the CBC screwed up this cover, but this one here, turned out absolutely beautifully. And but I logo approach to our iconography. And this actually came from the Frantics era. This is I did a logo of a reductionist logo of every single one of us. So I used this one from the Frantics era. Kind of looks like me, I think.
Skosh.
And that, people put bands together and they underestimate how important is their look. And now that being said, every band goes through that horrific period where they first try being, hair bands, or they've got scarves, or they have leather, or they've got a jean pants and white t-shirt band, and then finally they find their groove that they're comfortable with. But you always start out doing stupid shit. I mean, that's really funny. So the Frantics started off in 79. We were playing at the Pink Flamingo, and Dan, Rick and I went to high school together. So we did a 2-man comedy group called Green and Chato. We actually played at the Improv in New York, which was huge. They loved us. And then we met Peter, who was this fast-talking Second City style performer, and Dan had a punk folk band called Poopy Dan and His Lunch, and he had this backstage thing where he would come on stage. He was a big guy; he's like 6'2", and he had a shower curtain that came out of a pole out of the back of a backpack, and it was round, and he had these little foam puppets, and he was completely outrageous. I'd never seen anything like that. He had these routines where God came to earth as a piece of shit, and then, hello, and I am going to bless upon you everything that don't step on me. Oh no, I'm dead now. I mean, yes, I am now on the bottom of your shoe, and I will stay there, and I'll be stinky. And because that is God. God is stinky, and these guys just don't scrape me off. And we went, holy smokes, we've never heard anything like this before. And he could play this 4-string guitar, and he joined the group. And then it was the 4 of us, and then we wrote just a crap ton of material, then went out on the road and found that the comedy clubs, we couldn't really make enough money, and the stages were small. And then I discovered the Holiday Inn circuit, and then we opened for bands at the Holiday Inns in their bars, and that we made really good money. And then after that, we got discovered and went on CBC radio, and that was Frantic Times. Did that for 4 years, did 120 half-hour radio shows, really learned to write, because we would write 100 sketches and then perform the best 15. And we learned how to criticize each other, which was never criticize the first version of something, because that is what you are most attached to. And you find out whether it's good or not just by pitching it to the other guys, and you will realize, well, really, that wasn't really as good as I thought it was. And then we always did expansion drafts as opposed to edit drafts. So the second draft of everything that we did was an expansion draft, because you have an idea, expand it to its absolute limits, and then start cutting, chopping it down. And we had just a phenomenal time. It took us about a year before we figured out radio, because when you're working in the Holiday Inn bars, then you're doing dirty stuff and you're yelling all the time. And I wrote a sketch called Fishing with Live Bait. Do you know those fishing shows where they go out and check out a large, they're going to fish for a largemouth bass or something? Do you have those shows?
We've had those, yeah.
Yeah, so I did
PBS.
Pardon me, what?
They end up on like public access PBS.
Yeah,
Usually
or in the morning, like
Yeah.
early morning. So I wrote a parody of that, and it was like, welcome to Live Bait. I'm John Live Bait, and with me is my partner Cole Peaker. Hi, Dave. Not really nice to be here with you there, John. Every time. What are we doing today? Well, today we're fishing for trout, and they're a clever fish. What are we using for lures there, John? Well, usually it's a popper or a worm, but we're doing something different today. Today we're going to use a Bengal tiger. A what? Yep, we're going to use a Bengal tiger as bait. And just look behind you in one of them styrofoam containers. Open that up there. Open that up there, Cole. And then you hear the sound of it. So the sound effects person goes, and then he's a fasty one. He's ripping my flesh there, John. Oh, just put him on the hook there. And he's fighting me. He's fine. Oh, just keep going there, John. Don't be a pussy. Okay. Okay, I got him hooked up there. Okay, now let's cast him into the lake. And then, okay, now we'll just sit here and wait for the trout to bite. And just like to say that John Live Bait Show is brought to you by Norwegian Chew, the only chewing tobacco that tastes like your non on a dead Viking. Zit, zit, zit. Oh, looks like we got a nibble there. Let's pull him in. Zzz. Oh, he's been nibbled off the hook there. Well, them trout are clever. Yeah, they just nibbled it off the hook. And well, we don't have, why don't you get another Bengal tiger on there? No, we don't have another one there, John. Well, you're just going to have to hook yourself on. Oh, you think so? Yep, just stick that hook through your lip there. Oh, that hurts. Oh, ow. Okay, here we go. Goodbye. Goodbye. So we did that really calmly and everything else. I wasn't yelling as much as I did right now. And the person who was running CBC radio came up to us and says, "Gentlemen, you finally figured out radio." So that was fun. And I'm telling you that, if you're fans of Firesign Theater and all the comedy groups on record, the theater of the mind, like what I just did right now, you could do it in 3D animated, you could do that now, but that's not the fun part. The fun part was thinking of a Bengal tiger coming out of a tiny styrofoam. You can kind of like, it's in your brain. Now, okay, you're going to put your hook in it. Like, really? You're going to put the hook there? Okay, yes, you didn't. Now I'm just casting it out, and the sound effects person, and that's one of the tricks with the microphone is you move away and stuff like that. And it puts this magnificent picture in your mind. And we had Todd Booster, who flew through space and fought the Ultramind, and Mr. Canoe Head, and this where's Mr. Canoe Head?
Well, it reminds me,
there you go.
Listen, as a kid, my grandparents had an Andy Griffith album.
Oh yeah,
and
he was funny.
The one he did, because what it was football, is one of those great just stories.
Yeah,
you can visualize it in your mind. Someone who's never seen a game before going to his first game and then trying to describe what that game is like.
Andy Griffith was very it was very funny, but it was very, again, there's a lot of storytellers back in the early early days.
Mhm.
So, anyways, then we got the radio show, and then we got our TV show, and that lasted 13 episodes, and then Showtime would not foot the bill for a season 2, and then we toured with the best show that we ever put together, the History of the World show, the Frantics Walk Upright, the History of the World, and then we quit. So after 10 years of being together and had just a fantastic time. Then we got together 5 years later and toured a little bit more, just for fun. And then we stopped, and that was it. So we became middlingly popular in Canada, at least. The United States, we didn't really try to hit the US. That would have been a huge effort. It would have cost us an awful
A
lot.
lot of money, yeah.
We would have loved to have done the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, but the other guys didn't want to do it. I had a little bit more ambition, but it was fun, and the guys are great. We still talk to each other. There's no animosity, nothing. Just a wonderful group of guys, funniest guys that I've ever worked with. It was a real joy.
And again, like we mentioned, it was Dr. Demento that introduced me to the group.
There you go.
And in fact, this compilation's got Last Will and Temperament, and You Were Speeding.
Yes.
That one cracks me up. It's so funny because
that is funny.
I love cerebral grammar jokes.
Yep.
There's just something about them that are just so funny.
I loved You Were Speeding. That's a clever one.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And Mr. Kip Clinton House popping in with 5 gifted memberships.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
So go on to iTunes, and I think we're on iTunes. We're on iTunes for sure. I don't know if we're on Spotify, but go check out the Frantics. Listen to them and have some fun. There's some really good material
I've been
there.
watching through the show on your YouTube on the YouTube.
Yeah. The Frantics 4 on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are great.
Yeah, I was just watching the one where I can't remember the character's name, but it was Mother Teresa's rival doesn't win the
Nobel Prize and freaks out.
Freaking out.
Yeah, punching the guy. What do I have to do to get the Nobel Prize? That was funny. Yeah, that's
and again, that's just so my humor. Just growing up listening to that and Monty Python and Carlin and just a lot of those groups really just. And I don't know if Steve Martin I thought was hilarious as a stand-up.
Yeah, he was very good. He invented stadium comedy.
Mm. And I do miss not having comedy warm-ups for bands when they're touring. Because I always thought that was a great idea to pair the two together, because they're really, really the same in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
There's not a huge difference between what comedy and what music does, because it's all a creative endeavor that you're trying to get out to as many people as you can.
Yeah, whenever we opened for a band, it was difficult because they got all the girls.
Right.
Because, comedians didn't really get it back then. More now. I mean, there are a lot of.
Well, you got Matt Rife, stealing all of them now. So
I'm not you know what? I don't think he's funny at all. Sorry. But anyways, he's cute.
His crowd work is pretty good, but the actual comedy itself is, I'm all right.
Yeah. He's okay. What was I going to say? Yes, I mean, the girls would come up to the bands backstage and go, fuck me. And then I go, hey, I'm on the comedy group. And they went, yeah, fuck you.
So you got the other twin, the fuck you.
Yeah, that's right. We got the Japanese girls.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Did I just offend an awful lot of people? I'm sorry. I'm a big anime fan. So I can say that. Huge anime fan. I can show you my One Punch Man t-shirt.
That's
Saitama.
So how far back does your anime fandom go? Do you actually, because I still call it Japanimation on occasion, because that's how far back I
go. I'm not horribly far. I mean, okay, that's not true. I loved Speed Racer, so I saw it when it first came to North America. I thought that was just insane stupidity. So that would be early.
Yeah.
Astro Boy. So I watched Astro Boy,
and you actually go back further than I do.
So, but then there's a giant gap.
Mm.
Then I started getting back into it with Sailor Moon because my daughter and I loved it. That's a stupid show. But
Yeah.
then I didn't get into the Yu-Gi-Ohs and all the anime that where something would happen and then there'd be 3 weeks of filler
Mm.
and then something would happen. I had no patience for the spiky-haired crazy people. But I mean, I Cowboy Bebop, Gurren Lagann, which I love. I mean, I absolutely adore that. So that I started getting back into it with Aja, what's it called? Aja, which was a creepy as heck one, and Knights of Sidonia. I loved Knights of Sidonia. So I mean, I missed. Oh, I missed One Piece.
Mm.
Initially it was just too childish for me. It wasn't something that I was that I was interested in. I was a mech guy.
Mm.
So to me, anything with a mech in it was great. Although, except for Evangeline.
Oh, Evangelion.
Yeah, Evangelion. I hated that.
That's a weird show.
I just couldn't stand that. Just stop being such a simp. Like, stop it. Like, yeah, first few shows, you're doubting yourself. Yeah. But then get on with it. It drove me nuts.
There's one anime that I always point to one episode if someone's asked, well, what's anime like? And I'm like, well, it could be fantastic. It can also be super weird. I'm going to show you super weird. There's one called Those Who Hunt Elves.
I don't know that one.
And it's this muscle-bound martial arts guy, an actress, and a tank girl get basically transported to a magical world.
Okay. And
there's one episode where they discover that this town actually has toilet paper. And they're, freaking out because it's toilet paper until they find out that the toilet paper is actually the poop of these tiny little white bears. And you actually see the bear crap a fully formed roll of toilet paper.
And you recommend that to people as the first anime.
No, I just want to say, if you want to know how weird it can get.
Oh, okay. Because Kill la Kill is pretty weird.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is one bizarre anime, Kill la Kill. Oh wow. But I mean, Gate, I loved Gate. And the manga for many of the animes was actually better than the anime itself. So to me, I have a wide range of interest. I like Sword Art Online. People shit on me for liking Sword Art Online.
I've actually watched it, so I can't fault you for it, but it is a little hokey.
I love it. I absolutely love Sword Art Online. I think it's much more clever than people give it credit for.
Mm.
And then the second series, how they, I thought that was pretty good, how they kept that going. I mean, I loved Parasite. I thought that was just fantastic. But I love there's one mech stuff. Well, Gurren Lagann is a mech.
Mm.
And it's got the jiggly boob stuff, which I think is an important component.
Well, yeah.
But Hunter x Hunter, I loved.
There's an anime called Parallel Trouble Adventure Duel, which was a Evangelion parody.
Okay.
Done by the same people who did Tenchi Muyo.
Okay.
And they all have these mechs that they pilot, but only females can pilot them. So therefore, all the mechs have high heels.
Yeah. Well, in Knights of Sidonia, even that one creature that they create that kills itself on behalf of humankind, which is really sad, had heels. Okay, that was weird. Anyway, yeah, there's more anime that. Yes.
I tend to go back to a lot of the older stuff though, because growing up in the 80s. Not knowing at the time until about the mid 90s that, Transformers, that Robotech, Voltron, that those were all originally Japanese shows.
Yes.
Written to fit the American market. And of course, years later, I would get to see the actual original versions of them.
Right.
Get to see, how they had changed and different. And I know in a lot of anime circles, the name Carl Masek is still a dirty word.
Okay, he's the guy who brought it over.
Really, yeah, he started a company called Streamline Pictures, and he really brought the first dubs to the States back in the late 80s, early 90s. But he was also the one that created Robotech and took
Okay.
3 completely different shows and had to write all the stories to kind of fit together so he could get the 65 episode number for
Right.
syndication.
Right. Well, I mean, I also like it's not anime, but Ultraman was always one of my favorites.
Mhm.
So I loved that stuff. And I've just been introduced to Kamen Rider the last couple of years. I'd never heard of that before. That is cheesy as shit. I
Oh, yeah.
love that.
It's like watching Japanese Spider-Man or
Yeah.
Superman, because it's
That's-
just ultra cheesy, but you love it for that reason.
Yeah. And you can see the progression where they had no budget and they're on a Honda 350. Yeah, with some like cardboard bug thing on the front. And then they got more and more budget with each year, like a little bit more. Oh, now they got a Suzuki Katana. Oh, okay, that's okay. But
Oh, I love those old shows.
yeah, to me,
Well, and like I don't know if you've ever seen Danger 5.
I've heard of it. I don't know it.
It's from Australia, and they do a straight up parody of old
Yes,
style shows.
I've seen Danger 5. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I have seen it.
And just the fact that they did an entire episode where they had their own mech versus Mecha Hitler, and
Yep. Oh, Danger 5. Yes, I did. Oh man, I completely forgot. They were very funny.
yeah. Well, and they did a like one of their first movies they ever did was called Italian Spider-Man. And it's the joke is because you'd have those movies in Europe that were
Unsynced,
based off
badly
an American comic that had literally nothing to do with it. But they recorded it in English and then dubbed it in Italian. Which makes
you know what? I saw the whole first season of Danger 5,
Mhm.
but I completely forgot. I mean, I moved from Supercar into I moved from oh god damn it, I just forgot his name. The Speed Racer into the animated stuff from England, like Supercar and Fireball XL5. To me, that was just awesome. I just loved
the Gary Anderson stuff.
Gary Anderson stuff.
The
Loved it.
Thunderbirds and yeah. Yeah, those were creepy but funny at the same time.
I love it. Penelope. I mean, I loved it. I think it was great. And they're so anime because, when they fired off their Fireball XL5 spaceship, they didn't just shoot them off or anything. Even Supercar, like fire engine number 1, gee, engine number 2, gee, engine number 3, gah, Supercar, and you just loved it. Like, oh yeah. I mean, it was just like. They didn't just immediately do it. It was like Sailor Moon, where it's like, okay, now she's going to fight the bad person, but we got 5 minutes worth of, the animation as she gets the pigtails on and everything has to be, that's like, you could leave half of that out.
Voltron was like that as a kid.
Yes.
They'd always have to do, the form, arms and legs.
That's right.
Form, torso and body. And I'll form the head, which is stupid because he was the torso and body at the same time.
That's right. But hey, do not start talking about stupid when it comes to that stuff. I liked Voltron. I remember Voltron.
Oh yeah, I had a cake. I had a big plastic one as a kid. Yeah, that was the one great thing about growing up in the 80s was every show was about toys. So
Well, and if you do watch the Frantics series, which came out in '84. I think we were the first comedy group making fun of pop culture and video games. I mean, I wrote a video game for almost every second show. I wrote a fake video game. I programmed on the Commodore 64 a game, and I did that. And we were talking about comics. It's like heavily into that. I mean, we had Lou and Jaime, who are the 2 guys who thought they were the hottest people in the world. Although, do you see that girl? She's undressing us with her eyes. Oh yeah, she wants us. She wants us so bad.
we drive chicks mad. We would go through hallways in high school and we would hear just the kids without, they didn't know who we were, but we'd hear, oh, we drive chicks mad. I don't know. That was fun. So,
Well, I mean, all comedy is based on truth. To an extent.
yes.
You know, at least the best comedy.
Yeah. So I think we were the first comedy act to talk about pop culture and have some fun with it. So yeah, it was good. It was fun. So that's the Frantics. There's the arc. Then I became head of TV comedy at CBC, and I spent a ton of time in LA. And basically 3 years of that, I decided that I didn't want to do that anymore. And because I was a programmer, I came back to Toronto and started a company called the Digital Soup Company, and we did digital presentations that we programmed, and then that just became a game. Then we did a game called Jewels of the Oracle in '94, and that became a huge seller. Unfortunately, the publisher didn't pay us.
That happens.
And yeah, we were owed at least in the first run $500,000, and then we switched over to the internet in 1998. Then gained clients like Mercedes-Benz and big banks and McDonald's and JDS Uniphase, and I was flying all over the world, and so we were at the beginning of the beginning of the internet when websites were like $300,000 when you actually made money building websites.
So what got you into doing YouTube?
So I still own, the company is now called Your Web Department, and it's a wonderful little company that my staff builds websites for. We host $25 a month, but our business is for people who don't want to build their own websites, and I don't mind paying $25 a month. They want someone else to take care of everything. And I hated blogging. I thought blogging was bullshit. I went, okay, because at the time, all the social media experts and consultants were saying, oh, you got to have a blog. I don't know if you remember that era.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so you got to have a blog, blah. And the thing is, unless you wrote it yourself and you were passionate about writing it, it would never get done. And you hired another person to do it for you, it would never be in your voice. So it really had a very narrow thing. And so I went, oh, this YouTube thing is interesting. Why don't I bring my clients onto that and let them just stick get a little Canon camera, a G5, record yourself, talk about your business. And I think that's way more personal because I was a video guy anyway. And so I said, okay, how do I figure this out? Well, the way to figure it out is to do it yourself. So I went, okay, I'm going to start doing this YouTube thing. And then, well, what am I going to do to teach myself to do it? And Casey Neistat was one of my first YouTube heroes. So I was doing, the vlog, the family-ish vlog. And then I got into doing Hackintoshing by accident because I decided Apple was making shit. And so I taught myself how to build a Hackintosh. And I thought, oh, why don't I do a video on making my Hackintosh? And then I did that and it hit 200,000 views. I went, okay. So I became a tech nerd for a good chunk of my YouTube thing. But in the meantime, I was learning how YouTube worked, how the analytics worked. So if a client said, hey, I want to do YouTube, I could now show them how to set it up, how to do the branding, how to do analytics and all that stuff. And then it just evolved to 2 years ago, I guess, where the tech tubing became boring. It was just, and graphics cards were now $800. No one could build their own stuff. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, when I was doing tech tubing, I wasn't right at the very beginning, but it was a real joyous time where you could literally do the unboxing of a new case. And it was fun. Now I'm going to show you how I'm going to build the computer in this case. And there was just a million videos about people building a PC inside a box. Then I would show them how to Hackintosh it. And it was fun. It was really, really fun. And then there was the cryptocurrency thing that suddenly skyrocketed everything. It stopped being fun. There was only a handful of people who were doing interesting tech videos. And I went, wait a second, actually my first
passion is comedy and entertainment. And I was a former network executive, and all these people online are complaining about TV shows and movies, but they really don't know how they're made.
Mhm.
So I think I'll change my channel from a tech channel to Call Me Chato, and I'll tell people why, executives make the decisions that they make and why they make it and why. And my joke always is that I only had one job, and that was to make sure I kept my job.
Mhm.
That was my job, because I have a living. I don't care about the product. I mean, I'm being cynical. And
Right,
television does not have a quality knob. It only has a volume knob. So, and so to be able to talk about it from the perspective of why is something shitty, but it's still okay for me in the network, and what's the advantage of it? And yeah, we don't care that you didn't like it, but look at the money it's making. I was trying to be able to bridge that, bridge what's the motivation of a network executive to make the decisions that they're making, and why, what are they looking for? They're looking for a star. They're looking for, at least a good story, likability, consistency. So, and that actually, people really enjoyed that variation of looking behind the curtain. And
well,
then
it's great because
my
we
channel took
as
off.
fans, we can talk about why we don't like something.
Sure.
And there's 1,000 of us that can do that, but having someone who has the insider knowledge is always a great perspective to get. And that's why I like talking to different musicians that have a whole different genres that I'm not used to, because I like to hear their inside knowledge of what they're doing and how they're doing it.
Did you like the Rick Beato interviews?
I love those interviews.
Yeah.
They're
They're-
some of the best on YouTube.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely fantastic, because I love how he breaks down songs, and then well, also who he's talking to. I mean, the fact that he's gotten every member of the Police now is
Yes.
fantastic. And I love listening to Stuart Copeland because
He's great.
he's crazy, and I can understand why, because he's a drummer and I'm a drummer, so
There you go.
I understand the insanity that goes with it.
Never let your daughter marry a drummer.
Exactly. Of course that's what my ex-mother-in-law told my ex-wife. So
She was right. I mean, I'm sorry.
yeah. Well, again, Paul, I really wanted to thank you for coming on. This has been a huge treat for me.
Thanks for having me.
Conversation, getting a little bit more history on a group that I've loved for absolutely decades now at this point, and just getting an insight and getting kind of chance to prick your brain and just hear the history. And I really enjoyed this conversation. And
Any other questions that
anytime.
are there any questions that are lingering out there? If not,
Seen in the chat. Although I did forget that Sam Kinison is buried in Tulsa.
He was great.
He was always funny. We decided to say we do the '80s cover band, and my bass player wants me to do Wild Thing, the Sam Kinison version. I'm like,
Wild Thing.
You do want me to sing more than one song, right?
Yeah, you wreck your voice.
Because it's not gonna end well.
No. Now, do you sing and play drum?
I actually sing and play guitar in this band.
Okay.
It's I went to college for music, so I play multiple instruments and things like that. So I enjoy being able to do different things in different groups.
You're a talented individual.
I appreciate that, sir.
Don't. What's the next stage of your career?
Well, actually, it's been doing a lot of the synth wave stuff on YouTube here lately. So, I've put out 2 synthwave albums on YouTube. Getting ready to release the first song of the next round. That I've been doing
So
a
you're
lot
a
of
keyboardist
remixes.
also.
Do what?
You're a keyboardist also.
Yeah, well, when you're in college for music, you have to take piano no matter what
Gotcha.
instrument you play. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
it's just one of those things, you have to do it. So, and I got started doing it during COVID because everything was shut down, and I wasn't able to go play anywhere. So I wanted to go and still make music. So I was like, well, I've got a little keyboard, I've got a bunch of virtual instruments, and I want to see how this goes. Yep. Yeah, I've got a little it's kind of hard to pull it out here, but got a
There you
Alesis.
go.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So
Nice.
I got the drum pad, so I can program the drum parts in it.
Well, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me on. I Hope this was fun. It was fun for me.
It's fantastic. Like I said, I was trying not to fangirl as much as possible, so I think I kept myself
You
calm and
did.
collected. So, for programming notes for next week, we actually have a premiere. I've got the remix of Castlevania 3
Ah,
for in the Golden Eye sound font style. So this will be premiering on. Let me get the comment off so you can actually see it.
good job.
Yeah, it's a one-man operation here, so I'm still learning the YouTube thing. But yeah, this will be premiering Tuesday night, the 23rd at 7 p.m. So tune in for that. Next week, we're going to be doing a ranking of top 5 JRPG soundtracks with the Gamersician, TJ the Gamer from Master Sword Music, and Mr. DJ Access. So I'm looking forward to that conversation. But again, Paul, thank you so much for coming on. This was an absolute joy and
Oh,
blast. I
thanks.
appreciate it so much. But as everyone, as I always say, just keep making music or comedy. Make everything. Just make it all.
Yes.
Good night, everybody. Thank
If
you
you
so
don't
much.
do it, it won't get done.
Exactly.